Hi, I'm Ian Curley from the European in Melbourne. Today on chefmasterclasses.com we're going to be making a traditional seafood paella with chorizo. When we're making a paella rice, we use a traditional Spanish rice called bomba rice. If you can't find a bomba rice, which is clearly labelled, there's a calaspera, but try and use traditional Spanish rice for this as opposed to a borio, which is more for risotto. Obviously got the rice, and if you follow the recipe, you'll see that, how to make that together. We've got traditional Spanish peppers, chorizo sausage, we've got some peas, or in your recipe you'll see you've got broad beans, but use peas if you haven't got any good broad beans. We've got a little bit of lemon zest, which has been blanched just at the end of it, give it a bit of a bite. We've got some mercan. This is like a saffron substitute. This is the dried filaments of capsicum, which you'll see on the recipe it's there. You don't have to use it, but you can use a bit more red capsicum like we have done here. This is called a sofrito, which is slowly cooked capsicum, a little bit of tomato, a little bit of saffron in there, and some fennel. And it's a beautiful slow stew, and this imparts a great flavour. And you've also got chili, garlic, and of course the star ingredient, other than the rice, will be the seafood. So here we've got prawns, kingfish, mussels. I'm cutting the prawn in half, so we're going to just put this on top. And that's another good way of putting out as to how many portions there are. You'll see that I've got 3 beautiful prawns here. So this will probably do about between 6 and 8 people. So we do it like that. We just take out any of the discoloured bits, like so, which is the intestinal tract. Once the prawn's been cut, we just pop it into a nice hot non-stick pan and crisp up the prawn, and it acts as like a portioning, if you like, on top. We put it into around the outside of the paella so that people can get a piece of prawn with their rice along with the seafood. And with the paella pan, now, the great thing about these pans is they're very thick underneath, so they're 3-ply. And this is great for what we're going to talk about later on. There's a thing called the sockerat, which is when you see on the bottom of the pan, it gets a little crust, and that's considered as like the delicacy or the best piece of the paella. Okay, so you got your pan nice and hot. Throw in your mussels. So just drop it all in and just fry your seafood off. Now, don't be afraid of using some more oil. Now, the great thing about these pans, they don't stick on the bottom. Whereas you'll see with a quality pan, you get to move it all around and the fish will separate itself with the oil. And that's what you want, really, because you want to add the rice to this afterwards that we cooked. And it's just fantastic. You don't have to worry too much about it catching on the bottom and burning. Let that cook off for a couple of minutes until all the mussels will start to open, like so, you'll see. And with the clams, they've started to open as well. And the good thing is, nothing is caught on the bottom of the pan. So I'm going to take them out, leave them there warm. And in the pan now, I'm going to add my chorizo sausage and give that a stir around till the oil starts coming out of the chorizo. Now these beautiful little baby peppers, these are made up in Noosa. They're grown up in Noosa, and they are fabulous peppers. And they say that 1 in 10 of them's hot. So they're a bit of a surprise when you get the hot one, I can tell you. So we're going to add this in there and fry all that off. And it's now that I'm going to add a little bit of garlic and a little bit of chili. I'm now going to add my sofrito that we talked about before, which is the tomato, capsicum and fennel mix. Now I'm going to add my cooked bomba rice. Now with the rice, you're pretty much going to put it together the same way as you would a risotto by adding the onion first. But in here I've got some onion, saffron and capsicum, and the saffron will make it this beautiful yellow colour. Now if you can't afford saffron, or if you don't want to use saffron, you can omit it and have a beautiful nice white rice. Now you'll notice that I haven't mixed everything through just yet because I'm going to add myself some vegetable stock, which will help bring the rice back up to a heated temperature, and then I'm going to add my seafood at the end. So as I add the vegetable stock, you'll see I add this cold, so I just pour it in. I now mix the stock through with the rice and everything else gets combined. Now you can see that the moisture is going to be absorbed by the rice, and that's why we use bomba rice, so it takes so much more. As in, it's different to a risotto rice where it absorbs only twice as much. This will take up to 3 or 4 times as much because they're nice big fat grains of rice. So let's cook this for about 5 or 6 minutes, or maybe even 10 minutes depending on how high your gas is. I like to turn it down now so it just ticks along nicely. And what will happen on the bottom of the pan, you'll get a little crust, and that's what's known as the sauerkraut. Now, it's not burnt, but it's that crispy rice texture that you get, and that's the prize piece of the paella. To finish the dish, when that sauerkraut started, I'm going to put a pan on, a non-stick pan on the back there. I'm going to add some calamari through, and I just want to start the cooking process of this because I believe that if you cook the calamari slowly, just like so, it won't go all tough and rubbery. I now add my peas, but just stir through the top part of it because I don't want you to disturb the sauerkraut on the bottom. And I'm going to start adding my seafood to the paella. Now you'll see that I'm not pressing down because I actually want the bottom of the pan for that crust to form. And the moisture is still being absorbed by the bomba rice. Pour the oil on the prawns, drop it in a non-stick pan, like so. A little bit more oil. And then I turn over the prawns when you get a nice colour on them. I've got some blanched lemon zest, because I want that beautiful lemon flavour. Toss them around like that. And to finish the paella, I'll very gently stir it all in so that everything's mixed through nicely. And with the prawns, I'm going to pop them on top when they're cooked. Not forgetting the beautiful lemon that goes on top of there. Sprinkle that around. And what I do to finish, I sprinkle on this beautiful merkin, which is the dried capsicum filaments. Obviously, if you can't find this, you can use a little bit of paprika or any different herbs, just to give it a bit of an authentic finishing. And then I like to use a bit of torn mint on top. And at that stage there, I'm going to turn that off. And you'll see, even though I've turned off the gas, it will continue to cook because it's a beautiful crust has formed and it will hold that heat. And this is the smoked roe of mullet, which is actually made in Queensland, and very fantastic and beautiful with any sort of pasta dish or anything fish related. We use this a lot at the European, but I love to finish the dishes with this. It gets that really beautiful smoky texture and flavour all the way through it as well. Now you'll be able to find this bataka wherever you find your good rices and from your really good delis or your supermarkets. And to finish, take it off the stove, obviously, leave it there, and we've got a traditional seafood paella with chorizo sausages, nice and spicy, all the flavours are there, and when we dish it up, you'll see that the sauerkraut's still intact on the bottom.